Welcome to Story Ideas on the Fly, where we take a random story idea out of a hat and turn it into a full story. What do we have today?
Yeah, what do we have? I'm awake. All right. Mental illness as a superpower. Mental illnesses as superpowers. Sometimes the handwriting's hard.
Yeah, sorry, I wrote that one, so the handwriting's impossible
Always
to
terrible.
read.
Yes. Mental illnesses as superpowers. Now
So
you
the
could
question
go.
is, are we going with superpowers that cause mental illnesses as a byproduct, or mental illnesses that have superpowers laced with them?
Or we could take this another direction and we could look at mental illnesses and say, how would you turn this from a mental illness to a superpower? For example, if you had someone, they used to call it schizophrenia. What do they call it now?
Dissociative identity.
Yeah, so if someone has a dissociative identity disorder, that superpower could go and make it so they can make duplicates of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The idea they can
or maybe make
more bodies for the different
or
personalities?
maybe
Or give them
they
multiple
could
consciousness so they can deal with this problem and that problem and that problem at the same time.
or maybe they could change their appearance, shape shifting their own
Mhm.
appearance so they can look different.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
have
It could just be that
options.
the different personalities have entirely different skill sets.
That would be funny. It's just like, wait, you could do that yesterday. No. John could do that yesterday. Here, I'll go get him 1 second. Okay. Oh yeah, that's easy. Let me do that for you.
You
Oh.
can have that would be an easy
It's
one to
we also need to define kind of what's a mental illness.
Mental illnesses are usually defined as any kind of unusual neural pattern,
Because
which would include stuff like DID, schizophrenia, autism,
bipolar.
bipolar,
There's a lot of them.
there's
so
a lot of mental illnesses.
ADHD.
I guess if you think you're a duck, that would count. Okay.
Probably.
Okay, so different ways you could take this.
Well, if you
have
look,
these as superheroes.
some mental illnesses, if we want to like classify autism,
Yes, they do often
a
come
lot
with
of
some
them come with
superpowers.
superpowers. You
Yeah.
know, you look at how many autistic
Oh
children.
yeah, our autistic brother. I'm pretty sure that his memory is stored in a supercomputer.
Yes, he is
Yes,
very smart
he
when it comes to.
Is how we fact check about anything.
Can't tell you his favorite color, but can tell you exactly what happened 3 years ago.
So
Exactly.
On January 3rd.
So we've got
3:30.
we've got some ideas on maybe where these can come from. Where would you, is this set in traditional superhero land, or where would we want to go with this?
Could be.
Normally
That's
things like that are set in the modern days, but we could set it somewhere else if we want to. But classically it'd be modern days for something like this.
Yeah. But yeah, you could take it different directions. Let's see.
You could also take it, I mean, you could take it a lot of different ways. I mean, I know because I take a lot of things a lot of different ways in,
This
books.
is true.
You got in Camo, they get superpowers from a post-apocalyptic event, and you could do that with
That's
this.
true,
You could set it post-apocalyptic where something affected them, and
Technically, they got the superpowers from the apocalyptic event, not the post-apocalyptic event.
Oh, that's true. Okay, sorry, I'm out of it today. But
All right.
you could, I mean, you could set it a lot of different places. You could set it fantasy. You could set it, but let's go with
Let's just go with classic superheroes.
Yeah, slap that classic superhero.
Classic superheroes. Let's see. If you want to count ADHD, they tend to
focus on some things and then completely not be able to focus on others.
which might be really good for a battle or for a high stress situation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Julia said that they work specifically well when life or death kind of situations.
Yeah, which might be really perfect for a superhero. Let's see, what other things do we know about?
He basically he's taking he's taken like maybe just a little bit of martial arts or something like that. But whenever he gets into a battle situation, he kind of hyper focuses and is able to perfectly do everything. But whenever he's not in a high stress life or death situation, he can't focus on anything.
Oh, well, I think also
And so
not
he's
just
doing
focus
something
on.
like, I need to write this paper, but I need to clean my desk. But I also need to go take out the trash. But first
Can
I
one
need
of
to
the-
write this paper.
Can one of these things
But-
threaten my life?
I would like to see when they get the kind of super
Okay, if
reflexes
you don't
when
write the
they're in
paper in
that
the next
situation.
15 minutes, I will stab you. Okay!
Right in your face. That's how I need to get you to do your schoolwork. That
I'm not
essay.
ADHD.
Oh,
Okay.
bad. Okay.
All right.
No, we are not advocating for violence or threats. of
Don't
violence.
threaten people that if they don't do something, you'll
He'd
stab
enjoy
them.
that.
Okay. So.
All right.
Especially not you, Joseph.
So
Let's
so
see.
we've got some ideas for some superpowers you could get.
Mhm.
We also have, our setting. What's the conflict?
Hmm. Let's see.
People want mental illness so they can get. Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. But
Well,
let's,
okay.
I'm a psychiatrist.
Huh?
Well, here's the interesting
Random
thing. So,
bullshit.
is this just a world where all superpowers are directly
Ooh.
connected to mental illnesses?
Here's an interesting idea. They don't have to all be.
Okay,
They
well,
don't
that's
have
my
to all
question.
be, but here would be an interesting thing. What if you have a, psychiatrist, a really messed up psychiatrist who is trying to take away superpowers?
Mm-hmm.
Because after all, not everyone has them. It makes the people that don't have them feel bad. He wants to cure these people of their problem because he sees these differences. Being different is a problem.
So,
So he wants
superpowers
to
are an issue
cure
in his
them.
mind. Okay.
So your villain could actually be kind of a psychiatrist who is also into, got some connections with the science and stuff to try to figure it all out.
Mhm.
Who is trying to cure them. Cure,
Heroes?
or if we want him to get a little deeper into this, cure or eliminate.
Hey, some people think that's how you cure a problem.
Yeah,
Isn't this
there have been
Canada?
places where, saying, hey, we've, cured Down syndrome, we support them all. It's like, no, not
Okay,
really
well,
cured.
we're not in Canada, so that's not a cure.
Okay.
All right. How do
On to
we?
happier topics.
So how is
Let's
he
have
going
your
to?
topics murder.
Yes.
So we're murdering. So we've got our villain, or at least some idea of a villain. We've
Mhm.
got some heroes.
So, yeah, my question is, do all superpowers come from mental illnesses? Because if so, that'll make a huge impact on the world itself.
True.
I
Why-
would say most likely superpowers are always related to mental illnesses, but not everyone who has them has powers.
I would say that
Okay.
the superpowers are, not everyone who has a mental illness has superpowers. And I think that some of the people that do have powers wouldn't have to have a mental illness, that's really
It wouldn't
thought
be
of as a,
debilitating.
Oh, you're right, but what I'm
because-
saying is,
I
is
mean,
the
it looks
nature
a little
of
bit odd.
I'm saying, what is the nature of superpowers in this world?
This world.
Does it come from the fact that these people is there some kind of psionic some natural psionic wavelength in this universe that if you deviate from, you get superpowers
or
or
it
something?
could be some just kind
Mhm.
of, brain
Or the powers
mutation.
cause a different. The powers cause some.
Yeah,
kind of
well, that's the
brain
thing. Well,
mutation.
and that's another thing. Is do powers cause the mental illnesses, or do mental illnesses cause
the
powers? What
Or
causes
do you
what?
have to have both?
Or you could just have something that
Or is it just a
that
complete
is
coincidence?
different in these people's brains, whether it was affected by something in the environment that happened years ago, or whether it is a genetic
kind of
fluke.
thing.
Could
Okay.
happen
The idea of
experiment
the
or,
powers all of something cause powers and mental illnesses at the same time.
No, I think
Well-
what we do is we have some kind of there's some natural psionic wavelength type thing, pseudoscience, and what it does is and it's basically the wavelength that 90% of humanity is on. But if you deviate too far away from it, then your mind can start disrupting it locally, and that's what superpowers are type thing.
Okay, I think that works.
So basically, by thinking very differently from most people, you get
So some people's head buzzes at a different tone.
basically.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Got it.
All right. Epilepsy is one you could throw in there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Does it count as a
It's not
it's
really a
a-
mental illness.
it's not really a mental illness, but
But
it
it
still
is-
but
is
it's your
caused
brain
by
functioning
yeah.
The
It's,
function of the brain
So-
functioning
or any
differently.
kind
and
of
that would be
neurological
interesting
issue.
because imagine you have the epilepsy, but then you have like what would that appear? Would that just be the ability to basically just almost
Or
cause
maybe when
epileptic
they're
seizures?
maybe when they're in a seizure, they go into God mode or Super Saiyan mode or something, and they can break that all over, but then they
just
don't
like
remember it. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out.
Oh, there are actually seizures where people do really unusual things.
Unusual thing.
I talked to someone when I was little, and he said when he had seizures, he would rip off all his clothes and run down the street and get out of the seizure, standing 3 doors down, buck naked, or things like that. There was
Interesting things
Yeah,
can happen.
there
so
was
you
one,
could
I
do
believe it's
something
called
in
the
there
temple
like that.
lobe seizure, where the little girl would, be playing and she'd suddenly stop and stand up and stomp her foot and go poo poo to the devil, to God. And then she'd sit down and start playing again like she didn't know. So you could have someone, instead of having a, grand mal seizure, you could have them do
Yeah.
when they when their brain is doing that, which could be brought on. I mean, seizures work very differently in different people, obviously, by stories I
Yeah.
just told, but you could have something be brought on like by high stress levels,
Yeah, high stress. There's an
or
emergency.
extreme emotions or something.
Yeah.
And so when they get into this, they have really great powers if they're in a very emotional state.
Oh, so basically, so if they feel threatened enough, they immediately knock out everyone around them.
Or
Okay.
if it's a
I feel like that works
I
best.
just yeah, guys, I just fell asleep and then randomly woke up with the news that I just saved the entire city, so.
Or endangered it.
Well, they could be aware of what they're doing.
Yes. Well,
you know.
most of the time,
They
I
could
think
be
they just
aware.
I think it sounds fun if this person who has seizures has psionic capabilities, so they just get into this high stress situation, kind of go into a seizure, but then end the seizure. They're psionically mapping everyone around them to see who's a threat, and then knock all of them out, and then fall unconscious themselves.
That could be an
Very
unusual
I
thing.
think,
interesting.
yeah, and I think another thing is if we're making this a psionic based magic system, then I think all superpowers are first and foremost mental, and then affect the physical world from the mental state.
Yes.
So,
Okay, so we got some
so you
ideas
can't
of
really like
powers.
duplicate yourself, but you
Yeah.
could change your personality and change your skill sets and stuff.
What is
Nice.
our conflict?
Our conflict.
Yeah.
Well,
What's our
obviously we have this
Well-
psychiatrist who's
Okay,
being
yeah, we
And
got the
we
psychiatrist.
have
Well,
some,
and
and
what if
also
you have-
when you have a world where all the super powerful people are innately mentally unstable,
Mhm.
You're going to have
We're gonna
the
have a lot of
villains and
supervillains.
issues.
yeah.
Okay, so you got a lot of supervillains.
Like we've got some sociopaths or psychopaths or some people with some
Yeah.
difficulty with
It's like, hey, I mean, this isn't just a world
disorder.
because, hey,
villain,
yeah,
they could have some issues.
in this
There
world,
could be some very good people
this
with
world
those same issues.
naturally looks at the psychopaths and says that person will have superpowers.
Yes.
It would be an unusual world.
Yes.
So yeah, okay. So we've
Now
got
all these people
I think
can
there would,
choose
and
to do
so
good
I
things,
think there would
but
be
yes,
a
you
lot
would
of. I
probably
think
have
there
a
would
lot
be
of
a lot
villains
of
with issues.
there would be a big
Mhm.
push societally to basically in schools map people
Mhm.
mentally so
And
to
maybe
catch
separate the deviants early on.
deviants. That might be what the
That's
world
probably
even
what they
calls
would
them.
call them.
They might find a slightly nicer
Or
term
nicer
for it, but
term, but-
they would probably still want to separate them and monitor them more carefully.
which
when they're
might end
younger.
up producing more supervillains than they want because that
Yes,
might
it
cause some
might.
resentment. Okay,
Yeah.
so we have.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's when
Well,
you
and your psychiatrist could have started out working with villains, trying to heal villains and save villains and do good things, but then kind of slowly devolve into more and more.
They're not savable. We just need to stop all this.
we
just
doesn't
need to
these
kill
superpowers
everything.
are
And
a
then-
problem.
Save the heroes, save everyone, save them by killing them. You know, I mean, you
but
could
then,
have a lot of.
and then when he sees, okay, we've got these issues, they're not, I don't think I can get them all reformed. He can get an organization, a government organization or something,
Yeah,
to
try to
come in and
manage
try
all
to
of
say,
them.
okay, we need to manage them, we need to lock them up, we need to keep we need to keep them away from people, we need
Yeah.
to try to take away their powers, and so he could
Let's
get
take
some
all
backing.
these teenagers and make sure they're doing the things that the normal, healthy, developing teenagers are supposed to
Oh, that
do.
would.
Do you have enough friends?
Right.
If you don't have
Oh,
friends, we're
that
gonna have
would
to
be.
and do something to fix you, because we think it's a
Oh,
problem.
Imagine that.
Does being an introvert count as a mental illness?
According to TV, yes.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. There's a way. There's a plan. If we're talking
I think
about
here
being,
it's mental
being
divergence that
no,
we're
if we're
talking
defining
about
it
most.
as mental divergence, if we're defining mental illness as something that holds you
Yeah.
back socially and stuff, then yes, it does. But if we're talking about mental divergence, there's there's way a huge.
This could be
number of
very
introverts.
dystopian in
This
their.
could. That's
It
what I'm saying.
could.
This could turn
if
dystopian
you,
very fast.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
This
it
could-
could be, and that's the thing. This psychiatrist guy, he basically represents the system. What this has basically turned into is a story about trying to be normal when you're not normal versus
Mhm.
kind of basically self-acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
It's
Well,
like-
which is a story a lot of
Yeah,
people need to
and
hear,
this would
so
be
it's not a
an-
bad story.
And this,
but
if I were to write this, I mean, I could do this different ways, but if I were to write this, I'd kind of like to go the dystopian style on it.
Yeah,
That's fair.
this
I
could
like
go-
to write
Good
dystopians.
dystopia.
I do.
It would make a very
it would
good
make a very good
dystopia.
dystopia. It would also make a
You've
good
never
super
written a
history.
dystopia in your life.
Yeah.
right.
Oh yeah,
right,
just
right.
You can
wait.
do superhero and
Okay.
dystopia at the same
Anyway,
time.
so
Yeah.
there's
would you
lots of
write it?
ways you can go, so you can take it how you want.
What direction would you go with this story?
And what kind of heroes would you like to see in this
Go
in this
ahead
group?
and
I
give
want
us
to see a
ideas.
squid.
Go
Like
ahead.
heroes, villains, and other
One normal
people.
guy who has nothing wrong with him, but was just kind of pulled into the situation.
That's a good idea.
All right,
That could
well,
be fun.
send us your ideas to the comments.
And give us more ideas for our hat. We'll see you next time.